with me do any of the settings, and the lighting is terrible, but that's fine. I wanted to go live just to share some of my most common questions that I get, usually like on Instagram. People will message me who may have watched like 1 or 2 of my videos and have questions. I figured like it's not really worth doing a whole video on, because I don't know, be interested, but I thought this might be a nicer way to film a video and put me on the spot, because now I can't edit anything out, which is going to be very weird for me because I'm always cutting out my ums and ahs. So let me find a question. So I did get 2 people that have asked me, so oh my god, this is so crazy. Okay. When you leave Canada to visit the US or any other country, do you need all your IEC visa documents and requirements when you return back to Canada, similar to the first time you enter Canada? POE, letter of proof of funds, etc. Yes, you do definitely need your work permit. Most places, I don't think they ask to see it or to show it on a flight to Mexico, but yes, they do recommend that you bring your documents just in case you are asked. So me and Stefan go to America a lot, and usually when we do, we just have like a folder that we bring that has our work permit, but it also has like all the documents, all of our important documents. We usually just bring that in our backpack just to be safe. It is a bit scary having to bring all your important documents on a trip, because you're like, oh my god, what if I lose them? But I just treat my folder like I would my passport. I don't bring it anywhere. I just leave it in a backpack or leave it in my hotel, and then it's just always there. No one has ever asked me to, they've never asked to see anything, I don't think. Whenever we are going through customs, like to and from Canada and like in the US customs, we always just say that we are working in Canada. Yeah, much I don't think, but we just say we live and work in Whistler, and then everyone's pretty happy with that. But I have heard some people just put their work permit into like the back of their passport, into those folders, so then their work permit's always with them. So that's like a good way to keep that safe. But yes, I would definitely travel with your 100% with your work permit. Definitely travel with that, like a folder you can bring them in and it's safe to bring them. Then I would definitely suggest doing that. But yeah, I've never had any issues going through immigration. They're pretty chill, especially like on the Canada side. They're totally fine because everyone obviously knows Whistler, so that's really easy. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Let me find another question here. I've got some saved. Okay, someone else asked how, let me read this properly. How is it getting used to being in a foreign country as a non-native English speaker and never been in any countries before? Yes, this is like a really good question. So obviously I speak English, so that's good for me, but I do know like a lot of people that Canada, he lived in Toronto first and learnt most of his English just by listening to people, which is really cool. And then he came over here. I don't think he'll mind me talking about him because we're good friends, but he then got a job with us. In the beginning, it was like obviously well, what is happening? Oh no, have I no, my freaking, oh god, my phone is like really bad with the Wi-Fi. It'll just go in and out all the time. Now it's like making me turn this way, so that's fine. A little bit more of a portrait view. I wonder if I can change this. No, I can't change it. That's great. Yeah, anyway, so he, yeah, our conversations took a lot longer than normal because obviously he's still learning, and we did use like Google Translate a lot. But I feel like everyone here is like really patient and really understanding with people that are still learning English. Like everyone's really lovely, especially like at my work. We're so friendly, and we don't, if you know you're still learning English, that's totally fine. We have a lot of people that speak Spanish here, so that's very handy. Like my boss can speak Spanish, so for people learning English who speak Spanish, that's like perfect because yeah, they can communicate. But yeah, if English is not your first language, I wouldn't worry at all. If you know like a little bit of English would be good. Actually, the only problem I was going to say, especially like in a ski town, is that obviously there's people from all different parts of the world, so there's lots of accents. And especially like for my friend who was learning English and had only heard like Americans before, and then has been like around Australians ever since, and has to learn our slang and our accents and everything. It's so funny. Man, I'm just realizing, was my thing the wrong way before? I don't know. And this is my first time going live, so if it's like the wrong way, I'm sorry. I don't know. Yeah, I obviously normally film the other way, but I guess we'll see, because it's going to save this afterwards and it's just going to be all over the place, but that's totally fine. So yes, if you are still learning English, do not fear. Everything will be fine. You'll definitely be able to pick it up more over here. Everyone is super understanding, and you will be totally fine. Okay, let me find some more questions. Oh yeah, another common one that I get all the time is definitely about when to apply for jobs. And then you go in to connect it and it's like already connected. It's really frustrating, but we'll see. I'm using my old phone, that's probably the problem. Anyway, yes, people usually like in May and June are always like, oh my god, I haven't seen any jobs, like I'm stressing out about jobs. Do not stress, because it usually happens. They usually announce all the jobs like around July or August, and then even then there's still going to be more jobs going on and on closer to winter season. So winter season, usually people start work in November, so never fear, the jobs will come and you'll definitely know when they're all posted. But yes, another important thing that I actually have gotten this a few times, it's not funny, it's like, yeah, anyway, a lot of people ask about jobs and coming to Whistler and coming to Canada, and are like super invested in like the job application and everything like that, but they haven't got their visa yet. So like definitely the most important part is definitely getting your visa first before you worry about jobs or coming here or anything like that. You like definitely need to have your visa organized first, or at least be in the process of it, because it can take like a really long time. And before you even go in the pools, you have to be like invited to apply. So you go into the pool first, and I think they're only open for some parts of the year, and then some countries only take a certain amount of people per year. So definitely like think about that first. Don't be like getting to like July and think about your job and then you haven't even got your visa. The visa is definitely the more important thing to worry about, because there are many jobs, many places to live, and many things to do here, but you can't come here unless you have your visa, and you can only get one visa. So definitely consider that first. Obviously the visa process is like a little bit time consuming. You need a lot of documents. Yeah, like you gotta get your police certificate, you gotta do your biometrics, which takes do, but it's like in Australia anyway, if you don't live in the cities that they have it in, which I think is like Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne, you need to go travel and get your biometrics, which is like your fingerprints. That's pretty hectic that they have our fingerprints. I didn't think about that. Not that I'm going to do anything, but that's actually wild. yeah, you definitely, that takes some time and it costs money as well to go travel and do your biometrics. So I would definitely consider the visa first. That's the most important part. And even once you have applied, like it can take time. I think we were pretty lucky. We started around November, I think. We got invited to apply really quickly, which is good. Well, I did first and then Stefan did next. So that was really, really good timing for us, because when we were looking into it, it did say on the Canadian government website that if you're planning to travel to Canada in the next year, then you need to start applying. And that was in November 2021, and we were planning to go season in 2022, which is like November or October, right? So we started our application very early, like not very early, but definitely earlier than some would say or some would do. So we what am I saying? We started in November, and then we had to go to Sydney to get our biometrics, but like it was honestly the worst timing ever, because right at that time was still like a lot of COVID stuff happening, and the city that we were in had very strict rules on leaving your state, because our states were just like had crazy rules. And we, at that time, if you went to certain states, you had to quarantine on your way back, which is crazy, because like, yeah, it was just a weird time. And when I put our applications in the pool, I didn't know that you only had a certain amount of time to get your biometrics done. So I think you can ask for extension, but like I didn't want to do that. So when we started to apply, I think I only had like a month to do our biometrics, which means leaving the state. And like I said, like at that time, it was super, like, not a good time to be leaving your state, and it was really stressful, and I was like, what are we going to do? But then, we ended up doing it. Everything was fine. We literally just went to Sydney for a day. We booked like the 6:30 a.m. flight to Sydney, which is like a 2-hour flight for us. And then I booked like quite a late flight back, like 6 p.m. because I wanted to be really, I wanted to make sure we had enough time in case like something got delayed. And I'm pretty sure like our appointment was at like 12 p.m. or something. Again, I did it like in the middle of the day to make sure that we definitely had enough time in case like the flight was delayed. Like I'm always stressing about certain times of things. So I booked that in the middle of the day, had an early flight. I'm pretty sure we got into Sydney by like 9, and then I'm guessing we got a train or something to the city. That's where the like office was for the biometrics. And then we went up there to just have a look, because we wanted to see where it was, because it was really confusing where it was. Like it didn't have many signs or something. It was in this really like kind of like government looking building. And then we went upstairs and saw it. Sorry, that's just Stefan in the shower. And we I guess we must have talked to someone, and they were like, oh, we can just like do it now for you if you want. And we were like, okay. So then Stefan? Sorry. Then we then what am I saying? For our biometrics, they were like, we can just do it right now if you want. And we were like, hell yeah. So then we got there, sat down, and literally on the biometrics letter, sorry, I'm like rambling on here. On the biometrics letter, it literally says you need to bring the letter and you need to bring your passport. Like, obviously you would bring those two things, right? When we were waiting for our turn, like literally 2 separate people came in, and had forgotten a document that they needed. So one of them came in and didn't bring their passport. They're like, the lady was like, okay, I need your letter, I need your passport. And he's like, oh, I didn't bring my passport. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, like we can't do it without your passport. And he was like, oh, I've flown here from Brisbane, like, oh, there's a bee in my house. I've flown here from Brisbane, like I don't have my passport. And she was like, we can't help you because they like literally can't do your biometrics without it. And I'm like, oh my god, like that's like having to like witness that. They're like right next to us, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel so bad, but like, why didn't you bring your passport? And then the next girl comes in, it was the guy first and a girl comes in next, and then the lady's like, okay, like I need your passport. Yep. So she gives her passport, and then she's like, okay, now I need the letter. And she's like, I didn't bring the letter. I was like, how is this happening again? Like, are people not organized? And they're like, we can't do it without the letter. So then she was like, oh, like I caught a train like an hour here. And then, yeah, the lady obviously like couldn't do anything. And I'm really curious how many times that happens a day, because I saw it twice in like 10 minutes. So definitely like a good tip is every time you get like a letter from the Canadian government, make sure you read it thoroughly and make sure you bring the shit that you need to bring. Like if you're getting your biometrics, you need your passport and you need your freaking letter. And then like when in doubt, just bring more than you need, especially like with you know, when you first go to get your work permit, it just says like you need your POE and like your insurance and proof of funds. I think that's like the majority of it. But like just bring everything. Like you don't want to just like, oh, it's just so silly. When in doubt, bring more. What I don't even know why I was talking about this. But anyway, so we went to did our biometrics. And then literally it was done by like 9:30 a.m. And then we had like a whole day in Sydney, and we were just like, we walked around for like 3 hours, and then we still had like 6 hours till our flight. It was actually so funny. But yeah, that was in, I think that was in the week before, it was in the week between Christmas and New Year's, I'm pretty sure. That was like such a random time. And I hadn't told anyone that I was moving to Canada, because at that point like we were only applying. I didn't even know. So like I don't think I even told anyone that I went to Sydney, other than like maybe my parents or like a bestie or something. I literally just like went to Sydney on the down low. Actually, yeah, because I wouldn't have been working, because I never used to work Christmas and New Year's. Like we would have those 2 weeks off. So yeah, I literally didn't tell anyone that I went to Sydney. And then yeah, we did our biometrics. And then I think you just wait a while. But I think we got ours, I have it written somewhere, it's like the start of January. That's really early though, I can't remember. But yeah, we got approved. And then when you get approved, it doesn't even feel like you got approved, because you just get like a notification saying you have a message in your like Canadian IRCC account or whatever. So you log on, and then it just says, does it say port of entry? It says something that just doesn't say, like, it doesn't make you feel confident. And then you open the letter and it's like, you have been like initially approved for something. But it's still like, it doesn't say like, oh my god, you got your visa. It just is very like government kind of jargon. And I had to Google and be like, does this mean I got it? And so many people have that same question. They're like, does this letter mean that I like got my visa? And everyone's like, yes, congrats, you got your visa. But obviously your POE is like your letter that you then give to immigration when you get to the airport, and then they grant you your visa, which is your work permit. And it's like a nice little beautiful colorful sheet, and it has your name and your work permit dates and like when it expires and bunch of stuff like that. So yeah, definitely like, and I forgot to say with the visa, obviously you want to organize the visa earlier than like your job. So if you're coming for like winter 24-25 season, like you should already have your visa 100%. Like I would definitely try and get your visa like a year early, maybe not a year, like somewhere maybe like at least 9 months, because yeah, like say you if you're coming for winter, that's like November, October, you would want to come over. So, and then you start applying for jobs around July. So you would definitely want to have your visa already organized somewhere between like January to July. But basically, once you get your POE, right, your letter that says you can come to Canada, that letter expires in a year's time. So if you don't come and like get your work permit in that time, you like lose your visa. So that's something to add. Don't just like go get your visa when you have no plans of coming, because then it'll expire, which like I'm pretty sure did happen to my friend, but like I don't know what ended up happening there. So definitely note that down. Like it expires. So that would be a waste. Don't do that. Yeah. Anyway, that took a long time. I can honestly talk a really long time. Like most of my videos, that's just me. That's literally just me talking to myself for hours. That's actually a red flag. Okay, so yeah, you know about the visa. Another question I get is about housing. I just filmed a video today on staff housing and like the pros and cons of staff housing, so I'm going to try and like upload that hopefully in like at least 2 weeks, hopefully less. It's just like very overwhelming trying to edit a video that's like 30 minutes long, because it's time consuming, and especially if you've just recorded. Sometimes I'll like just record a video and then go to edit it, and it's like, oh my god, I'm like living it all over again, and it's just so, I'm like, can't handle hearing myself anymore. So, and especially because I'm filming this today, I don't think I'm going to edit that video for a little bit. So anyway, staff housing, I will give you a little rundown, because in case you see this and don't see my other a question getting into staff housing, and also like how to get staff housing as a couple. So obviously, like you guys probably know that I have a boyfriend, and we came over here together, so obviously we wanted housing together. That's just something I made clear from the beginning to like in my interviews. I was like, I have a boyfriend, I need staff housing. And then I'm trying to remember what we did, but basically when you apply for staff housing, you have an option to like request a roommate, and you make like a little group, and then with like 2 people, however many people. So like for me it was like me and Stefan, and we on the application it says that we have that roommate group. So then when you get approved for housing, it'll say which bed you're in, and then like Stefan obviously was like the bed next door. So it's super easy to get housing. Like if you're doing staff housing anyway with the mountain here, it's super easy to get staff housing, like get your boyfriend as your roommate. That part is easy. And sorry, I got distracted. That part is easy. It's actually obviously getting housing as well is like probably the harder part. Getting your requested roommate is much easier. So never mind about that if you're a couple. Usually like couples will get paired with couples, because it's a mixed gender units. So we live with a couple first, or we live with 2 couples so far. We have our own room now, which is really, really good. As in like the unit that we're in is just me and Stefan. So we don't have any roommates anymore, which is really, really fun and nice. And I shouldn't say that too much, because that's a bit braggy, because yeah, we are very, very lucky. But yeah, having roommates is not so bad. Usually they pair you up with someone that's suited to you anyway. They're really good at that. For like the mountain anyway. I can't say much about other staff housings because I don't know too much about it. So yeah, do not fear if you're trying to get a room with your boyfriend. It's gonna work out like 100%. And yeah, actually do be prepared to have roommates, because you're not going to be able to avoid that. Like that's just life here in Whistler. You're going to have a roommate, but it's going to be totally fine. Never fear. Oh, another good one. Actually, I was talking about visas before, so I should probably like have put this then, but I'm just like reading them as I'm going. So someone so someone said to me that they are moving to Banff this November. They have been approved for your their work visa, and they need to know, do they need to bring do they need a job offer or not. So I think during COVID, like right before we applied, you did need a job offer to be able to come. Did I say before COVID or during COVID? During COVID, I'm pretty sure. I don't know about before that, but during COVID, like 2021 and whatnot, you did need a job offer to get your visa, get your permit. Like when you arrive, you needed to show a job offer. They stopped that for, at least for the IEC visa, they stopped that like before we came or before we applied even, pretty sure. So we did not technically need a job offer or a job or whatever when we came. It is an open work permit, so you can work wherever, you can work as much as you want or as little as you want. But we did have our job offer. My advice would be, if you have a job offer, like a job contract or whatever, like print that out and bring that with you, because then they're going to ask you when, like immigration will ask you what your plans are for work. I'm pretty sure they'll ask something like that. I don't know if they said, do you have a job? It was very stressful in there. I probably like don't remember much. I have recorded my arrival experience, so it might be in there. But yeah, he definitely asked us something along the lines of, do we have work? And we just said, yeah, we have jobs with Whistler back home. And I don't think they said anything else. But they are going to ask you questions about your plans in Canada and your working plans, even though like you don't technically need a job offer. They're just going to like suss you out basically, because they want to see like, you know, your intentions basically, and just, yeah, I'm guessing that's what they're trying to do. Like that's normally what happens when I go through customs. They always ask like where you work or what you do in Canada or that kind of thing. So you don't need a job offer technically, but if you have one, definitely bring it, print it out, and make sure you tell them, be honest. If you don't have a job, maybe be honest about that too. Like definitely don't lie to anyone or anything like that. Yeah, I think I have to go soon. So I was asking me, did Whistler finally allow a dispensary? Yes, we had a dispensary in Function Junction first, which is, hang on, for any Australians that see this, dispensary is like weed shop, and Function Junction, for anyone that's not in Whistler, is like 15 minutes out of town in like another town called Cheakamus. They did have a dispensary there, which is like a super fun experience, being able to buy weed legally. But anyway, yes, there is a dispensary in the village now as well, but it's like kind of hidden behind a pizza shop. You can't really see it. I think there might be two. There's definitely one. I've been there. They're very fancy, but yeah, they didn't allow it for a long time because Whistler back home is very like family friendly and like family orientated. But yes, to answer your question, yes, we have a dispensary now. So that's good. Back to my Q&A. I'm going to give one more and then I'm going to go, I think, because this has been 30 minutes and that's crazy, and Stefan's going to be out of the shower and talking to me soon. So my last one, someone said that he wants to come work in winter, but he has plans to go on a holiday in December. Definitely not ideal to go book any plans during like December to March at least. If you have like a seasonal job, especially like in Whistler, part of your contract is that you will not take any extended time off. If you tell them that you have like extended time off requests, either you're not going to get a job or there's a possibility that you could like lose your job. And like Christmas and New Year's is our busiest time. So 100%, if you're coming here for a winter season, expect that you would not get to go anywhere for the holidays, but you'll be in Whistler in the snow, in the magic, in like the best place in the world. So you don't need to go anywhere, but definitely do not book any holidays during December, November, December, January, February, March. Don't book anything. There's definitely like opportunity to be able to take like 3-day weekend, that kind of thing, but definitely like nothing more than like a few days. Maybe if you say it's like something for a family event, you might get lucky and they'll be like understanding, but definitely not in Christmas and New Year's. That's like they call it like a blackout period. You can't take any days off. Well, you can't take any time off. But yeah, the season, like, because everyone's a seasonal contract, well, the majority of people, it makes sense that, like, you wouldn't take any extended time off because your contract is only like 5 months, something like that. So yeah, don't book any holidays. But you honestly, like, there's so many dead seasons too in ski towns. Like, if you're staying for more than a season, obviously the dead period is like usually around the end of May to, like, honestly, like the end of June is pretty dead, and then between summer to winter is even longer. Like, usually the village starts to die down like end of September, and then doesn't, like, we don't reopen the mountain until end of November. So there's plenty of time in there to go on holiday if you're planning to stay for more than a season. Or if you're just doing one season, just like do your season and then go for a holiday after that, like go to Mexico, go wherever. Not during winter season, 100% no. It's gonna, like, put people off hiring you, and it could risk losing your job and your housing. So I definitely would say don't book any holidays. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've gone on any holidays. I usually only go in summer because freaking winter is crazy, and yeah, plus it's snowing and that, it's harder to, like, get around, and everywhere's cold. So, like, yeah, definitely don't. Okay, that's the majority of my questions for now. I think I'm gonna leave it because I have so much. I've been talking a lot and I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So yeah, if you have any more questions, definitely keep sending them to me, and yeah, I'll keep answering some of these questions I get, because I feel like I have more than what I've just shared there, and I feel like that was only like 4, but I have people message me a lot about more like specific questions that I wouldn't, like, I can go into more detail on here, I think, rather than on my video, because my video, I don't want to ramble on too much. I want to keep it, like, short and sweet, even though they're like 20 minutes long, but I don't want to ramble too much, whereas I feel like here I can just ramble and that's fine. And I probably will hopefully post, I want to post this afterwards, but, like, I had it flipped the other way before, so, and now I'm flipped this way, so I don't know, like, what's the right way. So it might come up really ugly, so I might not save this one. But yeah, if you have any questions, just comment on anywhere really, and make sure you follow me on Instagram, because that's really where I post more, and I can respond to people more directly on there if you have any specific questions. That's yeah, that's definitely where I will respond best. For anyone that watches, thank you, I appreciate it, and I'm gonna go, and I don't know how to turn this off.